Welcome aboard as we embark on an unforgettable sailing adventure through some of the most stunning and diverse islands in the Caribbean. From the hidden gems of the Spanish Virgin Islands to the bustling harbors of the U.S. Virgin Islands, and finally to the cosmopolitan charm of St. Martin. Each stop promises unique beauty, culture, and experiences. So grab your sunscreen, set your course, and let's set sail. And like always, please subscribe to help grow our YouTube channel. But first, we just arrived to the island of Culebra. After our passage, everybody usually gets a little antsy. So, it's time for us to go exploring. Some people like to run, some people like to scooter and show off their sick tricks, but there's always a destination involved. This journey brought us to Flamenco Bay. Flamenco Bay has been rated one of the top beaches in the world for many years. I think it has in part to do with some of these tanks.
So I think this is why they call it a top 10 beach, because it's got 10 tanks on it.
The top tank beach.
That's what it was, the top tank beach. Bruce made up facts. In 1949, actually, they brought these tanks here. Has been protecting the motherland ever since. And they actually original graffiti from 1949. So this is the second tank I was telling you about, the one that got washed up here. Legend has it there's still a bullet in there. So no more.
Bruce lied to us. Bruce brought us to one of the top 10 beaches for pinchos, and I don't even have pinchos.
For those of you who don't know, pinchos are basically skewers or kebabs. They're usually pretty inexpensive and they taste delicious. But my pincho lady in Culebra doesn't work there anymore. So we set off on a new mission to find the best sandwiches in Culebra. And after getting our fill, it was time for us to move on to the USVIs. Cool. Alright, so Cody loves fishing. We can literally be going a mile and he's gonna let the rods out. So today I'm gonna attach a Smirnoff to the line and release it, and he's gonna get so worked up. He's gonna love it because he just loves catching fish, but in reality he's just gonna catch a buzz. I had to wait until the conditions were set. I waited for us to catch a barracuda first, and he fought and fought. Eventually we reeled him in and released the barracuda, and then it was time. Now the audio is kind of hard to hear, so I'm just gonna voice over the conversation that Cody and I had. I might need some help. Somebody help me. Cody thinks he has a fish. What you talking about? I do have a fish. Oh man, this fish sure is strong. It's a tough one to reel in.
You did that? Hurry, Cody, get it in the boat.
Before you lose it. Hey, let's see that thing. I just showered. If you're about to retire, just know that it allows for freedom, personal growth, connection with nature, and a strong sense of community. However, your boat will not always look pristine. 90% of cruising is just having tools absolutely everywhere. And the other 50% is just getting drunk with your neighbors. And oftentimes, we'll get together with friends until the late hours of the night. But when enough people get together, you end up doing some pretty wild and crazy fun things. For instance, we tried to find as many cliffs to jump from. Some higher than others, some lower than others, but all of them end up being fun in their own way. While cruising through the Virgin Islands, jumping from cliffs is not a very common experience. Swimming is. Swimming in the U.S. Virgin Islands is truly an exceptional experience. With warm, crystal clear waters, vibrant coral reefs, and some of the most stunning beaches in the Caribbean. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced snorkeler, the U.S. Virgin Islands offer diverse spots to enjoy the water. The U.S. Virgin Islands were great, but it was time for us to move on to St. Martin. St. Martin is a destination unlike any other. The French and the Dutch created an atmosphere that inspires great food, nightlife, beautiful beaches, and just an overall great place to relax. It's a great place to get boat projects done, and that's why we sailed or motored into the wind for over 100 miles just to get here. We're in St. Martin. So we're really here so we can catch a flight, because when we first started cruising, we booked like a slip in the Bahamas. We were like, oh, we got the 6-month cruising permit, so we're like, we're gonna be here for 6 months. So we made it to Georgetown, and we were like, we've already made it this far, we might as well go to Turks and Caicos. So then we made it to Turks and Caicos. We're like, we're not going back to the Bahamas, and my whole family booked like a hotel and everything in the Bahamas, so they're all going this week. So now we're here in St. Martin, and we're gonna fly to Freeport to meet them. And then now we've learned a very valuable lesson as cruisers. We're like, hey, no more booking things 8 months out.
We're gonna hike or walk to a hike and then turn around.
So the hike is like 2 miles away, and I have about 2 miles in me. All right, dinghy secured, trash in hand, let go. But we got shut down. It said no passe private
Property.
So now we're just walking down this little thing until it gets us somewhere, and if not, then we're gonna go eat crepes. I don't know if we're hiking anymore. This is single track, we'll see. Oh, it just brings us to a parking lot. Well, I can't say that was magical. The hike was a bust. We ended up behind the grocery store, but that's not a bad thing. Simo will get to go people watching.
Yeah, people watching and grocery watching was my favorite thing.
And if you are considering moving on a boat, you need to find things to do to keep yourself entertained.
Okay, on my list, let me check. It's that snorkel, those rocks. I forget what that's called. I think I can tell you in a second though. Creole rock, I think. And then do a hike. Go to Penile Island slash Tintamar, which is like around the corner. It's supposed to have good diving. And then eat crepes. Maybe go to Marigot. I don't know if that's worth it. But I think that's where the crepes are actually. So 2 birds, 1 stone. And that's it for my list. Do you have any?
I have 2 burns, 1 stone.
2 burns, 1 stone.
Where is we, Wooby?
We are in a new location for mechanical failure. Tintamar, which is right next to St. Martin, and this little island, little nature preserve, I guess. So we're just gonna go to shore. We've been pretty lazy all day. I did a snorkel, Bruce did engine work, and we're gonna check out the shore before we leave because it's rolly as fuck.
I was hungover all day. Our buddy right here, Evan, he and I went out last night a little later than we should have, and I'm paying the price all day. And then I was like, I don't want to do the engine work. But otherwise we weren't going to make it back, so I had to do the engine work.
Yeah, well, we could sail back. We will make it.
That's true. We took it. Yeah, we could sail back. So we were like, oh, it's just like when you go into a crowded mooring field or an anchorage and you only have 1 engine, it's like terrible because the wind will push you from one direction and then you can't beat it with 1 engine. You need 2, or at least the one that's leeward. So
Yeah, that's pretty close to some rocks.
yeah, we were close to some rocks, and there was like a nudist colony next to us, and we just could not stop staring at them, so I was very distracted. I fell. Whoops. This is where we were anchored before. And then this right here is where the motor stopped working. Here, where that speck of sand is. And we were too committed, so we went here at 2 knots.
2 knots, that was really fun.
5 miles, 2 knots, took us about 2 hours. And our friends got here in about 30 minutes because they had 2 motors.
So did literally everyone else. We were like in this caravan of charter cats, and we were very much the rear. Oh, this one's my favorite spot.
Oh yeah. What you like so much about that?
I like the snorkel in there. It's protected so you can't do fishing or anything, which is kind of a bummer because there's some big old groupers, but it was really pretty. These are rocks. That's my favorite rock. These are sails.
There's a little castle right here.
Oh, Fort Lewis? St. Louis? We're going into Margot, which
Cool.
is the last thing on our... Well, no, that's not the last thing on our list. We're going on a list of grapes.
Dudes love cannons, especially real ones. This is battery number 2. It shot a size 24 cannonball, and it used to make things go boom. You could shoot the people trying to break down the walls. Ah, let me in. Fort St. Louis is a historic military fort built during the reign of King Louis XVI. It was constructed to defend Margot's harbor and the warehouses during the 18th century. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you want to see what not to do in your catamaran, click this video.